morning. Welcome, everyone. Well, first and foremost, turn to your neighbor and say, Happy Pride Month! Happy Pride Month! Yay. We're so glad that you're here, that you're kicking off Pride Month with us. Whether you meant to or not, that's what it is today. Pride Month kickoff. So thank you for being here. If you're a visitor, your first time, we really welcome you here. We hope that you love it as much as we do. I'm Marybeth. I'll be your service leader today. My pronouns are she and her. And again, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm happy to be here with you. It's going to be a great service. Obviously, it looks a little different today. Instead of a speaker, we're going to have a panel discussion. So that's something to look forward to. Just a couple of things. First, before we get too deep into this, if you could turn off or silence your cell phones, all the things that make noise, that would be greatly appreciated. And then we have some announcements. So we have a second hour after the service. So directly after the service is our church photo, and you all look lovely today. I love all the bright colors. I like the black and white too. That's great. It's going to be an array. We're representing every person, every gender, every color, so it works out well. So thanks for looking good. So that's directly after the service. And then directly after that, we'll have some coffee, water, and sweets. That's just going to be when you come out here to my right, your left. And we'll socialize for just a few minutes. And then if you want to join Claire Helton for our second hour in the library, so just in that corner there, and it's going to be the out-of-the-box story circle. So she did a message on that a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Really interesting. So if you want to join her for that, that will be after our socializing hour. I'm going to calm down now. You're welcome. Sorry. It always gets me, all the announcements. Okay, so we're going to have some opening words and our chalice lighting. Nancy, if you can come up and light our chalice for us. I just have a couple of quotes that I really love that Brett found for us. One is by Angela Davis. So she said, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. Like, that cuts me deep, right? And then another one is by Anthony Van Brown. And he said, the richness, beauty, and depths of love can only be fully experienced in a climate of complete openness, honesty, and vulnerability. Right? Thank you. And then I'm going to have Nancy come up and talk to us about something special. Someone special.
We have a tradition in our church that we honor people singly with a single candle. And we lost a member of our church this week. Her name is Charlotte Crane. She was a long lifetime member and of UUCP, but also of our larger community. She was very impactful in the larger community of Pensacola and Northwest Florida. She contributed not only to our newsletter, but she contributed significantly to the Pensacola News Journal for years. We had the privilege of her skill set to introduce our members to us in a much deeper and more passionate way when she would write about members of our congregation. But perhaps her friendships with her friends here and her friendships with her friends in our community at large are probably some of the most significant things that she did. And even in the latter moments of her life, she made decisions about her death, and she called her friends to tell them goodbye. May we each have that privilege in our life. Taking time to tell our friends goodbye when we know we only have few moments, few hours, few seconds to live. Her celebration of life will be this Wednesday. It will be at 11 o'clock, and it will be here. That is June the 5th at 11 o'clock. And now I will light the single candle for her regarding our own tradition of lighting her light.
At this time, we're going to recite our covenant. So if you are willing and able, if you'll please stand with us, we'll read our covenant aloud together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. And if you'll stay standing, we'll have the choir come up and we're going to start our opening hymn. Mike is going to lead us in Equal Rights and Justice. And Mike wrote that with their partner Rivka. So very special song to us and appropriate for Pride Month kickoff. So the words will be up on the screen as well. And I don't know if there's some music passed around, but they'll be up here for us. I'm going to ask, offertory. We'll do that after. If we can get the ushers to come up, we pass around a basket, and for those of you who are new, we are solely member funded, so anything you can give is greatly appreciated, time, talent, or treasure. Thank you. I'm going to ask Claire Helton to come up, and she's going to read us A Time for All Ages.
Good morning. You ready for a story? We are reading Pink is for Boys by Rob Perlman, illustrated by Ida Caban, read by me, Claire Helton. Pink is for boys and girls, and bows on fancy clothes. Blue is for girls and boys, and uniforms on a team. Yellow is for boys and girls, and a crown to wear. Green is for girls and boys, and grass to run on. Red is for boys and girls, and cars racing along the track. Orange is for girls and boys, and popsicles dribbling down sticky chins. Purple is for boys and girls, and unicorns, because unicorns. Brown is for girls and boys, and teddy bears to cuddle. Black and white are for boys and girls, and puppies and kittens to pet. And all the colors are for everyone. Take it how you will. And flowers, are we still up there? Nope. I'll just show you the last page. And flowers and butterflies and rainbows in the sky.
Very good.
Thank you, Claire. Okay. We'll see, this will probably be up and running by the time we're taking our photo after service, but that's okay. So I'm going to invite our panel up here soon. I just wanted to talk a little bit about today. Basically, let's talk gender, okay? So first, I'd like to open with a quote that we found by Tammy Baldwin. She said, "There will not be a magic day when we wake up and it's now okay to express ourselves publicly. We make that day by doing things publicly until it's simply the way things are." So that's kind of our effort today, right? We're doing things publicly. So Chris shared a kind of a picture. It's a website, and I have the site if you need it afterwards. But it has a gender unicorn. That's really cool. It clarifies some terms: gender identity, gender expression, your assigned sex at birth, and then physical attraction and emotional attraction. And I had a slide for it, of course, but it just kind of categorizes it in a really cool way. So just to clarify, and I'm quoting from the site here, but gender identity includes, female, woman, girl, male, man, boy, and other. And that kind of pointed to the unicorn's head, if you will. And then the gender expression kind of pointed to the unicorn's appearance overall. And that would be feminine, masculine, or other. And then you have your assigned sex at birth, and that's male, female, intersex, or other. And then lastly, you have the attraction, and that pointed to the unicorn's heart. And that's both physically and emotionally, and can be woman, man, or other gender. So it's just a really, again, a cool way of kind of showing, and it's definitely a good source of information if you're wanting to or needing to talk to a younger person to help them maybe better understand that. So anyway, it's www.transstudent.org/gender, but again, I can give that to you afterwards if you want that. But at this time, I'm going to invite our panel to come up. And if you'll help me welcome them, they've been very brave by honoring us and talking to you guys about some personal things. So. And our host is Brett. I'm going to let our panel introduce themselves, but Brett Ramsey, who's also in the sound room with Audrey Preston's help. Thank you both. So.
Hello. So I'm Brett Ramsey, the calmer, less energetic half of the couple married to that lady over there. So we're gonna have a mic that you all are gonna share. So turn it on when you're speaking. Yeah, I'm just gonna. So we'll start with just having. Thank you all again for coming and doing this. We thought this would be a great way to kind of start off Pride Month, is just give some people a chance to talk about their journey with pronouns, give a little bit more education for everyone. I know we can all educate. I mean, your whole life, you always can learn more about things. So I'm just going to start and let everyone, we'll just go down the line. You'll want to, the first question is, how did you introduce yourself? And then how did you get to in your pronouns? And then how did you get to these pronouns? And like they said, what was the journey like to that discovery?
Hi, my name is Connor David, Pronouns. When I finally tried to look for more pronouns, I went to what was easiest for me, they, them. I found it most successful and still represent who I am inside. During my inner exploration, I did think at one time before finding they, them pronouns that I would live my life in a split personality of some type, in some sense. Living some days as she, her, and others as he, him. Almost as a drag queen in some sense, and looking someday to transition with hormones and likely surgery. Finding the identity non-binary and the pronouns to match shading from the identity crisis I was experiencing.
Hi, my name is Rena Hilmer, and I use any pronouns. So I guess I'm trying to remember the question was. Okay, so at first I kind of just realized that I didn't totally feel like a girl, so I used she, her, and they, them. But then I realized that I kind of just felt a little bit like everything and sort of not like any gender at all. So I use any pronouns. So I basically just don't care what pronouns people use to refer to me.
Hi, I'm Marybeth Gilmer, and I use they, them pronouns. I feel like I'm coming out all over again. It's kind of scary. Thanks for being such sweet looking people. Thank you. I'll sit you for that. Thank you. I guess the way I came, well, I always called myself gender confused. And I thought that was really funny. And I used to dress really flamboyantly and try and make it seem like I was a man in drag. And when Mike started writing our musical, Joys of Armageddon, I said I would only participate if I could play an intersex person. And then, I felt really strongly about trans issues, and I thought I was an ally, and I just was
my journey was a little different. I was raised in a very conservative home, but I was allowed to be a tomboy. And I was a very big tomboy, because it was okay to be masculine, because men are the best, as you all know. So I was raised feminine, she, her, girl, but I knew that that didn't fit. It never fit. It never felt right. And I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't know what. I didn't have the words for it. Transgender was not a thing. There was one label for trans, and it was transvestite, and it was very much a man who dressed like a woman for sexual things, and that was that. And that was not me, and I knew that wasn't me. So I lived a lot of my life in confusion about what if I'm just a tomboy. I'm just a girl who is a tomboy. And I knew that wasn't right, but that's all I had. And then this kid next to me opened my eyes when he came out to the world of gender fluidity and non-binary. And it is because of him that I have my pronouns. Because I didn't know non-binary was a thing until I did my research so that I could be a supportive parent for him. And I was like, oh, holy crap, there I am, right there. There is a label for me. And that all just happened 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I finally realized, oh, I do have a label. And non-binary is what fits, and they, them. I don't feel feminine. I'm not masculine. I'm not a man. I don't like he, him. They, them is me.
Hi, I'm James, he, him pronouns. So for my journey, it took until my younger brother Keegan came out before he detransitioned. And then I finally realized why I always felt like a boy. It took about a year after I realized I was trans to come out, but I came out as non-binary first, then I tried he, him pronouns, and then I kind of went to he, they. I prefer he, him, but I'm okay with they, them as well.
All right, thanks. The next question we're going to ask, just specifically for two younger folks, James and Rena. I think most of us, because a lot of people in the past, we didn't, as what we all talked about, we didn't have these terms. So we generally think that younger people today are more accepting of the terminology, and do you, for James and Rena, do you find that's the case among your peers, that they're more accepting and of this, like it's just a normal part of life?
I think that there are still like a decent amount of younger people who aren't accepting, but there are like more younger people that are accepting than aren't, and even the ones who aren't accepting usually like at least know what it is and stuff like that. So even if they're not accepting, they know what it is.
In my experience, it's not that younger people are more accepting, it's that they kind of understand it more because they grew up around it, and they are more willing to learn about it rather than just ignore it.
Okay, cool. I guess it's more just like a normal part of their life, where it wasn't a normal part of many of our lives as we were growing up. That makes sense. So for the other three, for Honor, Chris, and Rivka, obviously your journey has gone on a little longer. Well, in Chris' case, not necessarily the case, but we've been around the earth a little bit longer than some of these folks. And so when you, in your journey, when you knew that your pronouns weren't right for you, how did you react? Is that something was that early in your life, or did you kind of slowly come to that place? And then were you just in shock? Was it all of a sudden one day like, I don't fit this anymore? Or like as you were educating yourself, did it come to pass that, this makes more sense? Or how did that come about?
Well, I can't really say that I had a reaction, more or less a confusion. Since preschool, I found myself playing with dolls, playing house, playing dress up, looking forward to the age that I would wear makeup someday. I found it strange that I was put in this gendered box that people were putting in that came across that came with pre-prescribed habits and personas that I felt no attachment to. Funny story. One Christmas, my dad came down from South Carolina. I must have been 6 or 7. I saw her only a few times growing up. But when she came, I got this present from Santa. It labeled from Santa. I opened it and it was a shirtless, muscular dinosaur with combat boots. Kind of looked at it and said, why did Santa give me this? Then my dad started bawling. I quickly understood what was happening and said, I like this. I realized then I had shattered my man's understanding of me, her grandchild. I had fractured my own understanding of what the world saw me in this body, and I only dented my stubbornness belief in Santa.
I'll share a story of when I was 5 years old. I had a best friend. I was raised in a very religious community that separated everyone by gender, but it happens at 6. So before 6 years old, you're not separated. And we were friends, I don't know for how long, because I don't know when my first memory is from, but we were friends for a very long time. We went to daycare together, 6, 7 blocks from our house. We lived around the block from each other, exactly. So you didn't have to cross any streets to go around the block and play. And our backyards lined up to each other, so we could get to each other. And we went to the same bungalow colony. Just 1 year of my life I ever did that, and that was the year I was 5. Unless we did it before, I don't remember. But anyway, I remember a lot from that year. And we, tore the place up. A lot of bad things must have happened to us by that time. If I told you the things that we did together at 5 years old, oh my God. And we were unsupervised. Forget it. Anyway, playing chicken in the road, that was the least of it. Anyway, I came around the block when we got back from the summer. We were getting ready to go into first grade. I came around the block and I said hello, and he said, my parents said I can't be friends with you anymore. We can't play together. And I said, why? And he said, and I knew we had done all this bad stuff. I thought we got busted, you know what I mean? And he was like, well, because you're a girl. And I was like, well, I guess I am. So I didn't really think about it much again after that. But I don't think I thought I was a girl. But how can you know, right? I think I was going somewhere with this, but now I don't know where to go. So I think that's probably enough.
Like I stated before, my pronouns, I always knew there was something different. I didn't have the terminology for it, so my pronouns were kind of like a light bulb moment for me, and it wasn't really a matter of accepting so much as being like, finally I have something that I have the terminology, because that's what all I waited for my whole life was a word to put on. I know a lot of people don't like labels. That label is very, very important to me though. So it was just a light bulb moment.
Great, thanks. So we'll go back, we'll have a question for everybody. We'll start down here. So, as Rick mentioned, like the very first question about this is kind of like another coming out moment for Rick. So in your life, have you told all the loved ones, like like family members and friends and stuff about this, your pronouns, and if so, how did different people react to this?
Yeah, I came out to my entire family. Honestly, I came out on Facebook. That's how most of my family found out. And I lost a lot of family members because of it, but the main people that needed to stay were my mom and my brothers, and they did, so that's all I really care about. Plus, I gained a lot of new family that, yeah, they aren't blood related, but they're cool. So, I can just help myself.
On this, James did a lot of the heavy lifting for me. He came out and a majority of our family disowned us. And so when I came out, it was just to my kids and to my selected family here and a couple of family that we still talk to in the Midwest. But like I said, he did all the heavy lifting. They shunned us then, so there was no one left to shun us.
I guess as soon as I realized I love labels. I love labels. Give me all the labels. They don't have to mean anything. You're not stuck with them. You don't have to do anything just because you took a label, you know? I love them. They just, you figure out things that you and I have in common, or you and somebody else I love have in common, or whatever. Anyways, if you don't love labels, don't use them. They're terrible. But I love labels. I had a sidetrack. Now, what was I saying? Oh yes, coming out. So as soon as I knew for sure, I really couldn't sit on it. I always, it's probably like a trauma reaction, maybe not a healthy thing, but if I have some truth and it's being hidden, then I have to go out and tell it. And I know that's a scapegoat thing, and let's not go all into that, but anyway, that's just the leftovers. Anyway, so I put together, Mike helped me, he put together a list of everyone in our families, and, I just said I've been crying so much that I couldn't come out to each person separately because I couldn't do that. So I came out to everybody all together, and most people, you always hear the dramatic stories, right? Those are the fun ones to tell, but all the good stuff was all people who were just like, we love you, no matter what. Like, okay, what do you want us to call you? Like, what else, right? And then there were people who I already barely talked to, and now I really don't talk to at all, who were, they needed to remind me of my roles as a daughter, and a mother, and a sister, and a girlfriend, and, all these things, and, none of my roles have really changed. I mean, I own weights now. That's like the biggest difference. And then the best story, of course, is my brother. I have 6 brothers, 2 sisters. And one of my brothers felt the need to let me know that, he's the Queen of England. And so we refer to him as the Queen of England, and, we have discussions about how to refer to him, because he's definitely a man who identifies as a man, but yet he is the Queen of England, so, anyway, we can have some fun with that.
So I told my immediate family and like my close friends. I don't think I've told any of our family other than that, to be honest.
Some of them know.
But because I use any pronouns, it's not really like I have to ask people to use specific ones. So if someone asks, I will tell them, but if not, they're not going to be able to refer to me wrong. So I haven't told that many people, I guess. But everyone I have told has reacted well. So, yeah.
So I've told everyone in my immediate family, except for my grandfather, at least once. My dad tried for a short while, but didn't push himself beyond slight discomfort. I did agree he can call me Bud instead of Sir or Man whenever we like, hey man, this is hey Bud, so I feel like that's a win. My mom acted like I never told her, even though I mentioned it to her more than once. Ironically, she's the one in the family that watches every episode and iteration of RuPaul's Drag Race and Weird My brothers know about it, but it's like they have like everyone else, like it's something I haven't mentioned before. My auntie, that's the non-binary term we use for my auntie, they are AFAB, assigned female at birth. My auntie is the one that I can say has made the effort to really understand where I'm coming from. As you can tell though here, I don't correct anyone who misgenders me, as I understand it takes a while to learn. Even I get my friends' pronouns wrong from time to time. But I can tell, and you should understand, to show someone you truly respect them is to use their pronouns as they prescribe. To not to shows that you do not respect them, or at least that part of their identity which they've given a lot more thought about than you have.
Amen.
So this next question was kind of our in-depth question about this, because I think a lot of us, I've thought before about people in general. I think a lot of us go through society and we try not to push boundaries. You know, it's easier to just kind of stay in your lane, not cause all this chaos, not lose all these family members and friends and stuff from doing this. So why was it important to choose this? This is the road less taken. This is the more difficult path that you've decided to do. Why was that important to you rather than just kind of staying in the lane?
For me, it's what is the alternative? To live not true to oneself. I've done enough of that, and no one should volunteer to live in the prison of another person's ideals. I tell you, it's much more difficult to live the norm of another's mind than to live in the norm that you set for yourself.
I think that it's important because, I mean, if expressing yourself, if like your pronouns are kind of similar to like how you dress or what you act like it's part of how you express yourself and who you are, and like you can lie basically, I guess, and just act like you use the pronouns that go with what you were assigned at birth. But I think that it's important to express yourself how you want to, and even if that means that it's going against what other people think you should be. I think that it's important.
I guess what I had said earlier about being the kind of person who cannot not express a truth. So, sort of the theme of my life in a way, so far anyway, maybe it doesn't have to be forever. But, I'm a survivor from a very, very young age, and I'm the person who said, this is what happened, and then lost a lot for doing that. And then I'm a person who, in a very religious community, a cultural religious community, where people are like, okay, so you don't believe, that's cool, but this is how we do things. So you act accordingly, and okay, so we know that in your mind you have some doubts. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. People try to like pay you to keep the Sabbath and all kind of crazy stuff. And I'm the kind of person who has to be like, well, I don't believe that. But I don't believe that. Did you hear me? And I probably put myself in some situations that are not great for myself because I have this need to do that. But still, the only way that I would condone, although I don't judge anybody, but the only way I would condone, as a way of being, that you should present yourself in the act of a lie, basically, is if you're really, truly in danger. And then I get all tripped up when I try to write that down because well, we are kind of in danger, and when we first all started coming out, there were even trans people who were binary, who were like, you're not, this is not, you're not. And we were like, but we're the ones in the line of fire. You guys are passing, or doing your best to pass because of the danger. And some people can't pass, and there's really nothing wrong with that. But we're the ones who are looking somewhere in the middle, trying to look somewhere in the middle. I mean, if you could see me and not be sure, God, I made it today. Did I answer the question? I think I did.
I think for me it wasn't a matter of whether or not it would be easier, because it wasn't. For 36 years it wasn't easier. Part of me was missing. It would be like asking you to walk around with one less leg. A part of me was missing. It makes your life that much harder. And when I did get those labels and I did get all of that, I felt whole. And it was whole in my mind and whole in my heart. I just knew, and I could never imagine going back or hiding or detransitioning. It's something I've talked with about my son when all this crap happened with Florida legislation. One of the things he said was, I can detransition. Ooh, sorry. And that would be asking him to take that part of his wholeness and hide it for safety. And I couldn't imagine doing that as a non-binary person who can easily pass and is safe with all these legislations, because that's my thing. 90% of the time, I just look like James's mom. And it's easier for me. So, it was never a question of, it's me, I'm whole, so it's not, is it easier, because it wasn't. It was hell living as Crystal Brockway, she, her. It hurt me. It hurt me a lot to have to hide that part of me and to not be okay with that part of me.
For me, it was definitely hard coming out, mainly because I didn't know how my grandparents would act or about it, but it definitely, after coming out, made my mental health and my self-image way better. Before I transitioned, I was extremely depressed constantly, and it really fucked with my head, and I realized that's why.
Drop it out long.
I know, I realized after the fact, and by the time it's too late.
We'll just freeze right through that. These last two couple questions, since we're kind of short on time, we'll just kind of include them together. But do you feel like society is moving in a positive direction? Is that your experience? You feel like we're getting better, or we're getting worse? And then, if you would just fill in the blank, like the sentence, I'm happiest when, and then just kind of fill that in.
Okay, he handed me the mic, so I'll go first, I guess. So as far as society as a whole, there's parts of it that do. Like I said, there's a lot of legislations that are going up, that are trying to be passed, that are very anti-LGBTQ in every way, shape, and form in some areas, but then there's places like Illinois, and I just use that because it's my hometown, who are passing legislation that are the exact opposite. It's a safe haven state for those people who are being run out of their home states. And it varies depending on each person. Even here in Pensacola, there's a wide variety of people where they're very accepting, very loving. Look at all you wonderful people here, everybody who showed up at prom last night, and people in my life, in school and stuff, they're very accepting. So it's a double-edged sword. We do have an uphill battle and we are fighting it, but I feel like it is slowly turning. And I am happiest when I get to be here with my family.
So, it's kind of like my mom said, you know, we're working on it, and, you know, things are changing, but there are still laws out there that are making it harder for kids to transition safely, especially in places like Florida. It's one of the reasons why I had to move away for half a year last year. And it really sucked, and I'm happiest whenever I'm with my mom.
I guess I say the same thing. It's getting better in places, because at first it was like, you're a what? You know? And then there was a lot of like people who were like, whoa, never heard of that. Is that me? And there was just a lot of that. And now most people I meet they get it. They maybe sometimes they have some questions and they'll decide you're the one to ask, you know. And then, you know, there's the laws, the things that make me think, why did I move here? We gotta not live in Florida. It's not so bad right now, but that's because I guess they're not in the middle of pushing anything in or whatever, so it feels like there's a lull. But when you think about some of the laws that are in place, and anyway, you know, it's kind of, I like your image of the uphill battle. I just imagine us all like fighting our way up a rainy, windy hill, you know, like with things. Anyway. I'm happiest when I'm arranging things, like all kinds of things, like when I'm arranging hair on people's heads, when I'm arranging rhythms and words and melodies, when I'm arranging furniture. My kids hate that. Yeah, I think that answers that.
I think that like most people are becoming more accepting and there's more visibility, but because there's more visibility, the people who really don't like it are pushing more for like it not to be allowed and just bad stuff in general. But I think that most people are getting more accepting. And I'm happiest when I'm hanging out with my friends.
So I realized I've got to adapt to my own standards. Either society will keep up or I will leave it behind. You will create community you need by venturing out and setting a path on your own. You will find others on a similar journey. I was staying in California did help me see a little of what was possible. San Diego is just a little bit different than here. So I found more who represented or who respected or who were on my own journey quicker and in much larger numbers. I also had the opportunity to introduce myself to a whole new community of people, then to go back and reintroduce myself to everyone I knew. So, like we were saying, it is hard here, but they're expecting us to run and hide and not fight. And by standing up, we find the power in numbers. And I'll say, I'm happiest when I'm doing something revolutionary.
So just, thank everybody again. Thank all our panel members, and I'd like to give all of you a hug if you're willing. And then, yeah, here, that's it.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Honor, Rena, Rivka, Chris, and James. And while they're leaving, I'll invite the choir up. I know we're a little bit over, so I appreciate y'all's patience. We have a song. I've got a quick little closing words and then dismiss, but not really because we have the photo afterwards, right? So anyway, thank you again for sharing. I mean, that's, They're heroes for sharing something so personal, and we're honored to have them. So this song is, it's a couple of verses. So towards the end, we have the final verse, and we're going to ask you guys to sing it with us. And we'll just sing it twice through at the very end. The words will be up there. And there's that unicorn, the gender unicorn that I mentioned. So we'll skip over that, and I'll put the words for this song. But yeah, if you'll join us for the last verse, that would be great.
Nice breath.
Y'all sounded great. Okay, closing words and then photo. This is by Gilbert Baker. What I liked about the rainbow is that it fits all of us. It's all the colors. It represents all the genders. It represents all the races. It's the rainbow of humanity. And that's what we are. Thank you. Okay, come to the front for picture time. Thank you so much for coming.